مرحبا فيكم بحلقة جديدة من برنامجكم الأسبوعي بيدازلد. حلقة اليوم رح تكون كتير ممتعة، فخلونا نبدأ على الحلقة فوراً. الإكسبو انتهى، وطبعاً بعد ما أمتعنا طيلة 6 أشهر بالترفيه وبالإبداع وبالمؤثرات، كتير انبسطنا وكتير انبسط العالم فيه وكل العالم اللي زاروه. كان شيء كتير حلو بالنسبة لدبي وللوطن العربي وللعالم أجمع. طبعاً الشيء الحلو إنه لازم نعرفه إنه الإكسبو رح يتم مثل ما هو، يعني المعرض والهياكل والمجسمات رح تتم مثل ما هي، وهذا الشيء كتير حلو. ولازم ننوه إنه الإكسبو اللي إحنا استمتعنا فيه خلال 6 أشهر هو أخذ مجهود تقريباً أكثر من 7 سنين من التحضير. كل هيك حابين نحيي كل القائمين اللي كانوا على هالمعرض والإمارات العربية المتحدة. عدنان سامي هو اسم غني عن التعريف، وهو مغني وملحن، وطبعاً انشهر بأنه أسرع ملحن بيقدر يلعب على لوحة الكيبورد، وهالشي طبعاً المميز عنه بالإضافة لصوته الحلو. خلونا نشوف، كان عنده حفلة خاصة بالإكسبو ونحن استضفناه بلقاء حصري، خلونا نتعرف عليه أكثر.
How does it feel being back to Dubai?
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I feel this is like another home for me. My family was based here for 11 years, so I grew up here in many ways. So it's always wonderful to be here.
So since you said you grew up here, let me take you back to your childhood. 30 years ago on Sharjah TV, some of you didn't can't show.
Right.
He introduced a small kid. He said he plays keyboard at the speed of light.
Right.
And here there was this kid saying, "Oh, yaar, ungliyan jadoo ki tarah chalti hai." And here you are, 30 years later, performing at the Expo.
Isn't that incredible? I mean, God has been incredibly generous and kind in the kind of amazing journey that I've been blessed with. And Dubai has played a very important role in that.
Not many people know, but you actually acted in just one film ever.
That's right.
And you had also Asha ji doing playback for that film.
That's right. Yeah.
And that then began the collaboration of Kabhi To Nazar Milao. And I'm talking about way beyond the Indian release.
That's right.
95, 96.
Absolutely right.
And how did that come across? How did Asha ji and then Lata ji and then everybody else?
Yes. Well, I met Asha ji actually at the age of 11. I was very young. I met her in London for the first time. Our first collaboration was during the time of the film Sargam. That was a Pakistani film, and nobody had ever used an Indian playback voice in a Pakistani film before, and so it definitely raised a lot of eyebrows. And she performed such amazingly well, and I'm grateful that. It's a very memorable soundtrack. My association, my relationship with Asha ji, I call her my musical mother. So, I have that special place for her, and, I'm indebted to her.
Congratulations, you just won the Padma Shri. How does that feel?
It's surreal, actually. I mean, I didn't see it coming from anywhere. It's a huge honor. And I'm extremely grateful for this honor.
And you're here at the world's biggest stage, Expo 2020.
That's right.
What is in store for you fans?
Well, of course, I'm looking forward to performing all my hits for them, and interacting with them, having fun on stage, having fun with them, and I'm just looking forward to having a great time.
Looking forward to the concert. Before we part, I want to hear 2 lines of Tera Chehra.
Ye zameen ruk jaye, aasmaan jhuk jaye, tera chehra jab nazar aaye.
Thank you so much, Adnan.
My pleasure.
وطبعاً عشاق الرياضة بالذات الشباب كتير بحبوا الرياضة وقصص الجيمنج وهالشي، والشي المبهر أكتر والشي اللي حابين عن جد نحكي عنه إنه في شاب عمره لا يتجاوز 21 اسمه أميت سينغ، هو رائد أعمال لسه هلأ مبلش حياته، وقدر يعمل أبليكيشن اسمه بومر 11. هذا الأبليكيشن تارجتين كل شي شباب بحبوا قصص الرياضة والجيمنج والكومبيتيشن والمنافسة وهالقصص. فخلونا نتعرفوا طبعاً، وحابين نقول وننوه إنه هذا الآب هو فري، يعني في الكل يستخدمه هون بالإمارات. خلونا نتعرف أكثر على رائد الأعمال الصغير ويخبرنا أكثر عن هالآب سوا مع بعض.
Pick, play and win daily with Boomer 11.
Download the app today.
Boomer 11 is a mobile-first free-to-play fan engagement platform. It's for all the users in GCC. We provide features from daily fantasy sports to quizzes to engagement wall, where people can share and discuss their favorite moment in the sport. Now, just a little bit about how Boomer 11 started. So, when I was back in UK doing my undergrad, me and my friends used to come up every day during the weekends and play the so-called fantasy sports, where 5 of us friends sit down during Champions League and we're like, okay, who's gonna win, your team or my team? So when I came back to Dubai, I saw that there is no such app available for sports people over here. And as we know that there are about 89 million users that actually follow cricket, football and basketball, the 3 major sports, and they have nothing to engage with. So this is where we bridged the gap, and this is where Boomer 11 came in. Let's say there's an IPL match between CSK and KKR. There are 22 players that are playing in that particular match. Now, me as a user, I choose 11 players from those 2 particular teams that I feel are going to play much better in that particular match. Now, once I make my team from those 2 teams, my top 11 players, what I do is I enter a particular contest. After entering the contest, my player's performance or my player's point either goes up or down. That depends on the real life performance happening outside on the pitch. So after you're done competing with the players, what you can do is either you earn Boomer coins. Those Boomer coins can be used to go to a redeem section and get gifts from iPhone to gold coin to numerous gift cards that are available on our app. The app is free to play both on iOS and Play Store. All you have to do is use your mobile number or email to enter the app.
هلا صار وقت استراحة قصيرة ونرجع نكفي سوا. معنى الإصرار والنجاح ويكون عندنا حلم وحاطينه قدام عيننا ما في شيء يوقف وشنا فيه، وهذا الشيء تمثل بمسابقة ميسس يونيفيرس 2021 اللي صارت بالإمارات، واللي ربحت فيها هي صبية أو خلينا نقول امرأة تحدت كتير، لأنه كانت الظروف أوقات هيك بتوقفها بوشنا، تعرضت لإصابة قبل المسابقة بس هالشيء ما منعها، وكان من الحظ كمان ومن حسن الحظ ولما بيكون الكون عم يساندنا صار في تأجيل بسبب الكوفيد والأوضاع، صار تأجيل هالمسابقة وقدرت تشارك فيها برغم من إصابتها. خلونا نتعرف أكثر على ميسس يونيفيرس وتجربتها بهالمسابقة.
Coming to the most dreadful part of your journey, I think of any model's life for that matter, the accident that took place just before the big event. How did you manage to cope up with that, and how did you manage to rebuild all the confidence in you to, pursue that dream?
Yeah, so everything was normal, and I fell in the steam room, and I hit my back on the corner of the marble step. So I just thought, okay, it's just one marble step, but obviously I was in pain, but I thought, okay, I've fallen, it's fine, but I couldn't move, and there was no one there in the room. So eventually a staff member had come, and I'm like asking for help. So we call the ambulance, I get into the hospital, and I'm like, okay, I'm in just so much pain and agony. It was like the worst pain I think I've ever experienced in my life. And then once the painkillers, they gave me a drip, and they gave me like 2-3 drips. And then when I had the painkillers, I was like, okay, it just feels okay now. Like I just feel a bit stable, because it was so painful the first hour and a half. And I think, okay, I'm gonna be fine. It's just a slip, it's one step, what can happen? They do the x-ray for me. And once they do the x-ray, they're like, okay, we need to do an MRI scan now because we found some complications in your spine. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, right, we need to call the neurologist because your spine is connected to your nerves and we may need to operate on you. And then I just started crying. I was just bawling out. I was like, what do you mean? They said, you might not be able to walk again. And I was like, what? So I started crying and I was like, oh my God, I just like, you know, when you just need your parents here or your family member. And I was like, I didn't call anyone thinking that obviously you know, it's just one step, nothing's gonna happen. It's like everyone falls all the time, don't they? So you don't think that. And they were like, right, we need to do the MRI scan and we'll know more. So they did the MRI scan, then they called the neurologist doctor and they called the specialist and they had a look at it. Then they were just like, okay, it's in the T6 area, so you have the spine. They were like, you're very lucky because had you had injured it up here, you could have been brain damaged. Had you been lower, you could have ended up in a wheelchair. But it was kind of in the middle, so they said, right, it's fine for now. We need to let it heal, but you have to be still because you don't want to pinch any nerves. You know, it can be difficult. So I was bedridden for a long time. And then they gave me this metal brace I had to wear, which was like metal here and metal there, like 5 kilos. And it was just horrible. Like you can't bend, I can't move, I can't shower, I can't do anything. So that was a horrible, horrific time. And I have to be positive and think it could have been worse. I could have been brain damaged. I could have been in a wheelchair, but I healed with plenty of rest. Obviously, it's hard because you can't move, and then you can't move to get up or eat or do anything. You have to stay kind of still. I think I had almost 42 sessions of physiotherapy, and I just built myself again. With the show, it was actually in October last year in 2021, but because of COVID, it got postponed. So when it got postponed in COVID, obviously I had hurt myself, so I thought I'm not going to do the show, so it's just, I didn't think anything of it. Then it got postponed, and it got postponed into December, and I wasn't healed by December either. In January, I had an X-ray, and they said the fracture of the T6 is not joined, so it's still kind of unstable at the moment, so you have to be careful, which means I can't wear heels. I can't do physical activity, so obviously I put so much weight on in 5 months lying in bed when you're not using your body, you're not using your muscles. And then they announced the show was going to be in February. So I was like, okay, can I do it? Can I not? I never had heels on for 5 months. I hadn't confidently walked. I was like, I'm going to do this because it's a calling. I want to do something to improve myself. It's a second life, so let's try and do something. And yeah, it was painful. It was painful walking, but yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So after all of that you've been through, as they say, been there, done that. You were there, you did that, you got over it. What words of wisdom or words of inspiration would you like to share with aspiring models, women who look up to you and are trying to, walk on that path to get where you are today?
My words of wisdom will be, don't give up hope. If you believe in something and you want to do something, if you really put your mind to it, anything's possible.
Like the king of romance once said, किसी चीज को पूरी शिद्दत से चाहो, तो पूरी कायनात उसे तुमसे मिलाने में जुड़ जाती है. I think the world, the God, everybody sent signs to you to not give up and, to just give you the hope that you will be able to achieve what you've always wanted and wished for.
Yes.
And we're also happy that you managed to get through it. And you're looking like nothing ever happened to you. Mashallah, touchwood, really, you look like,
Thank you.
Just as gorgeous and just as healthy, alhamdulillah, as you were.
Thank you. I'm still not quite there yet. I need a little bit more physiotherapy, but I'm almost there. So hopefully, I think another few weeks I'll have another X-ray, and hopefully, I'm hoping the fracture's complete. Yeah.
Let's hope for the best. Thank you so much for being with us on the show, Pamela.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. As your name is Pamela Serena, I was absolutely serene having you with us on the show, and we wish you all the best for the future.
حلقات ماضية استعرضنا راقصون عبر الحدود، وكانت تجربتهم كتير غنية لأنه كانت راقصون خلينا نقول بين الطبيعة بمختلف مناطق مختلفة من الهند، وهن طبعاً بيزوروا العالم كله. فخلونا نشوف هيك شو صاروا ولوين وصلوا برقصهم بالطبيعة. خلونا نروح لبريك ونرجع نكفي الحلقة مع بعض. الصحة العقلية شيء كتير مهم، والأغلب العالم للأسف بنهمل الصحة العقلية. إنه حلو كمان كصبية أو كرجل نهتم بأوزاننا ونهتم إنه يكون جسمنا فت ورياضي وهيلثي، بس أوقات بصير عنا أوبسيشن أو بصير عنا هوس بموضوع فقدان الوزن، وإنه منا سكيور ومنا كتير واثقين بأجسامنا، وهالشي بيأثر حتى على الصحة العقلية. وهون ببلش الموضوع يصير منه إنه نحن لازم نحافظ على جسمنا، صار لازم نحافظ على قوتنا الذهنية أو صحتنا العقلية. مو غلط نقدر نكون بدنا حابين نحسن من حالنا ونطور حالنا ونطور أجسامنا، بس هالشي لازم ما بنخليه يصير عنا هوس ويأثر على صحتنا العقلية وعلى ثقتنا بنفسنا. فالبالانس أو الخيط الرفيع بين الاثنين أو بين هالموضوعين رح تعرفنا عنه أخصائية ودكتورة بهالفقرة مع فيديا.
Hello everyone. So today we have a very special guest, Dr. Tulika Shukla. She has done her MD in psychiatry from NIMHANS and has worked in AIIMS in India. She has over a decade of experience in treating various types of mental health disorders. Welcome Dr. Tulika to Bidazled.
Thank you, Vidya. Thank you for having me.
It's our honor to have you here. So in my experience, when I've been working with my clients for weight reduction, primarily I've seen that, weight loss is just a symptom, right? Even in my own experience, I've seen that. And most of the time what happens is when they deal with excess weight or overweight, there's a lot of body imaging and the perception of how they look and how that affects actually even their mental health. So from your perspective, can you share some insights on this, please?
So like you very rightly said, when somebody has had chronic weight issues for a long period of time, they may start viewing themselves very negatively. So what your body actually looks like, but versus what your body looks like in your mind to you. How would you describe yourself to somebody is what your body image is. So over a period of time, people develop body image issues and it can start impacting their self-esteem. And over a period of time, it can even lead to depression, anxiety, and eating disorders.
So can you give us some examples of where you've heard your clients, the way they talk about themselves with their body image issues?
Yes, so if you have a person who has body image issues, they will describe themselves using either negative adjectives like I have ugly thighs or I have a very fat body, or they will use words which have a negative connotation according to them. So I'm very chubby or I'm plump.
Yeah.
So the adjectives or words which they have a negative connotation to are the kind of things people will say when they have a negative body image.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's what I actually help my clients. I tell them to first stop associating mine to that part.
Yes, so so your body image, how you start seeing yourself reflects also how other people have been viewing you.
Correct.
So over a period of time, you start associating the two. So how you describe yourself will also reflect how you think about yourself.
Yes, correct.
Now, if you are always thinking in negative words about yourself, it will start impacting how you think about yourself and you'll stop thinking that you're worthy.
Absolutely. You said it right. That's the mantra that I always say, I'm enough. Yeah?
Yes.
Because that the mind cannot reject. But if you say anything else like I'm beautiful, the mind will reject, because if you've been so used to talking about yourself, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm chubby, then the mind doesn't accept that.
Yes.
Great. The other thing I really wanted to ask, because, coming from your experience, how being overweight for all these years, being fat, and affects the mental health, because generally when somebody is sick, they go to the doctor, physical health is done, and especially with weight loss, you do have physical symptoms. But 9 out of 10 I've seen with all my clients, they also have deeper mental health issues. So can you give us more insight on that?
Yes, so it is quite common to see that people who are struggling with chronic weight issues, they might have an underlying depressive disorder, or they might have underlying anxiety disorder. They may be doing a lot of stress eating and emotional eating to soothe themselves.
Absolutely.
So those things can be symptoms of an underlying mental health condition, like depression or anxiety.
So I just want you to give some examples to viewers. How do we find out, like, in among us, whether it's our kids or could be our siblings or even colleagues, that they're going through this issue? How can we find these symptoms in people?
Yes, so depression is generally seen when, for a long period of time, at least for 2 weeks, the person feels sad most of the time during the day and in different situations. They feel their energy levels are low, they feel that they nothing is cheering them up. Things that they used to enjoy previously, they are not able to enjoy now.
Yes.
They have developed a very negative view towards life, towards themselves, towards people, towards the world in general.
Absolutely, yeah.
And in very severe cases, there can be thoughts of harming yourself.
And can we talk more about eating disorders?
Yes, so eating disorders, some of the common eating disorders that we come across in our practice is bulimia nervosa, anorexia nervosa, and very recently ARFID.
Okay.
So I'll talk predominantly about bulimia and anorexia.
Yes.
Bulimia nervosa is a disorder where there are recurrent bouts of overeating followed by purging activities, where the person is not able to control their impulse to eat, and then they follow it up with activities where they try to compensate.
Yes.
It could be in the form of excessive exercise, it could be in the form of vomiting, and using laxatives. The other one is anorexia, where similar behaviors are seen, but at the same time the weight is much less. It is the BMI of the person would be somewhere like below 18.5.
Okay. So when you say BMI is below 18.5, that means it's low, you're underweight or something?
You're underweight, you're extremely underweight, you're unhealthily underweight in anorexia.
And I think before we end, I really want you to, even talk more about this mental health taboo, right? Because I always keep saying, if you're physically sick, you get a sick leave, right? But when you're sick in the mental sense, right? First of all, as you said, people say it's overthinking. So first of all, the validation is very difficult, and even if you validate it, you get validated for it, but asking for help, seeking for help is also another big taboo, right? So in your experience with your clients, what would you like to tell our viewers today?
So first of all, if you're not feeling good inside, if you're not able to do things that are normal for you, that eating is normal for you, exercising is normal for you, if you're not able to do these day-to-day things, you really need to ask yourself what is stopping you. And most of the time the answer would be that your mental health is not as good as you think it is.
Absolutely.
And you're just bottling everything up and you're not talking about it. So the first step to get better is to accept that something is not okay. And nobody forcing, to when you go to a psychiatrist or a therapist or anybody, nobody is telling you, this is what you have to do. You're coming there for solutions.
Yes.
It's a collaborative process. So come to somebody who understands that what mental health is, because a lot of times you may go to people who don't really understand what you're feeling, and they end up invalidating you, and that just makes you feel worse. That probably something is wrong with me.
Absolutely. Yes. So what would be one last advice for everyone?
So whether medication, therapy, whatever treatment modality works for you, whatever is needed to be done to make yourself feel better, do it. Don't think about what other people are going to say.
Absolutely, doctor. Thank you so much. And that's the mantra that I always say, that's I'm enough, and then you need to put yourself first, and your feelings do matter. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Vidya.
لهون بتكون خلصت حلقتنا لهالاسبوع، وحابه ودعكم ونقول للجميع رمضان مبارك، وان شاء الله الشهر يكون شهر خير على الكل، وطبعا رح شوفكم قريب، كونوا معنا.